I'm complaint or comment driven, depending on how you look at it. So here we go. Just answering questions with the laptop, actually answering stuff. I can't wrap my mind away around why so many people, and I mean millions of people, have to claim everything is a conspiracy. Can't we just go with a logical, simpler answer? It must be some mass mental illness out there. Not quite. But it's pretty close. Why is everyone so full of distrust, other than the end of the world doomsday morons upgrading their end of the world is near placards to YouTube platforms and websites? I don't know what's whipped everyone up into mass hysteria. Hatred towards our own prized scientific institutions actually causes me to be concerned about our society. Science doesn't let you fudge things. If I tell you, you literally have inoperable cancer of the brain because it's in this part of your brain, there are two thoughts. Well, I'll tell you what the two thoughts were for me if I potentially I had one in the neck, and it actually was a benign tumor. We can give you medication, but if we have to take it out, it may have roots that go in further and we won't be able to operate on them, and it's in your blood vessel. So I immediately, and I think I was 7, I learned how they stop your heart for a heart transplant at the time so that they could do the work, and told the doctor that, and made him look up medical documentation that was recent on how to put me into low temperature mode, turn off my blood supply, clamp the blood vessels going to my brain after hyperoxygenating me, remove the mass, stitch the pieces together with a graft for my leg by taking a length of blood vessel, cutting it down the middle and using it as a patch for the piece that was removed, and then sew me back up because I'm going to die anyway. That was me rationalizing. Science doesn't let you rationalize that you can't go beyond the speed of light, or that we can't have aliens from outside the solar system really be a thing unless they came here and never left a long time ago. Because that's actually one of the... I'm going to be doing a video on that, and also previous iterations of cultures and societies that could have easily recycled themselves to the point that you can't detect them and may have done it on purpose. There's a Star Trek episode on that, but let's get on with it. These mobs of morons are so ridiculous they will send us back to the Stone Age. What is causing this, and what kind of solution can stop this? I honestly think it's the internet itself, and that's the problem. It's catch-22. The internet can give you so much accurate information, but also turn you into a lunatic. In sci-fi, if you want to analyze how humans are, and you are one of them that may be being delusional, you literally make a fake universe. Let's say we have a group of fairies over here. Oh, we can't use that word. Okay, if you want to analyze your own religion, immediately come up with the same scenario with a religion you don't like. Islam. Why is Islam erasing history by destroying World Heritage Sites? Because they do not want to be shackled by the facts of the past getting in the way of them lying about what they want to have in the future, because it's pure rhetoric. The little bit of doubt they have in their head makes them less likely to let go of that dead man switch or pull a trigger on somebody. The more you believe in the other versus all of us together, the more likely you are to be a good soldier too. See also everything America's done. We demonized Japanese people. We demonized gay people at one time until we realized, oh, demonizing AIDS reduced research, and now all of us are potentially going to die from it because it has longer and longer delay times before you can detect it. The reason people look for alternative answers is they don't like the answers they're given. And it's really hard to resist the temptation to say to yourself, I'm going to bargain for my life by figuring out how to do an inoperable cancer. By the way, one of the reasons we have less inoperable cancers is because of doctors who had relatives that had inoperable cancers, and they just found a way to fix it because they had to. Because, damn it, I don't want my mom to die. That kind of thing. That bit of stubbornness is extremely useful, and it causes scientific progress. But the militant propagandists, I can't explain other than that. Most of them, it seems, don't really care what they're saying. And I think this is we're not going to reach for the stars because we're too busy biting each other's ankles. A species has to get past not the nuclear age, but the post-fact age. Not liking facts means you have a scenario from the movie Contact, where a religious fanatic decides to destroy an experiment purely for no good reason at all. And the scary part about that character, if you're curious about it, in the movie Contact, I think it was actually based on a real incident, or a real person. What about, this is about, what about, but this is about medical parasites, etc. What about Dr. McDonald, finding Lyme parasites in the brain scars of Alzheimer's cadavers? What about all the cadavers he didn't find them in? Did he get a 100% correlation? That's literally impossible. You can't have a 100%. What group were they in? Was he critiqued for this? That's a smoking gun if you ask me. Lyme parasites make biofilms to protect themselves from your immune system. Lyme disease parasites are bacterial. They're not viruses and they're not parasites. You're misusing literally medical and actual English language here. Deprogram yourself. This person's actually being nice. They gave me something really cool to look up. I've done before, but I needed to do it again. But yeah, the biofilm thing is a real thing. There's also some of them that mutate their proteins to where they're not identifiable. If you have any cystic disease, it's probably Lyme again. No, it's not. Lyme disease is found in cysts as opportunistic infections. Me having a comorbidity with athlete's foot, it was a simple fungus issue, and a staph infection. One leaped on the other. The reason I have the problem is because of a chronic bacterial infection that won't leave my sinuses and lungs. Doesn't affect me normally, but it'll kill anybody over a certain age range with pneumonia. Staphylococcus aureus furniculosis versus Staphylococcus aureus aggressive. Well, I don't know what the name is, but it's named aggressive because that's the one that went around and killed people, a lot like flesh-eating strep. Also, specific Lyme species parasite's the worst bug to catch. No, it's not. Some people get Lyme disease bacteria. It's not a fucking parasite. And it makes cystic masses in various places, and they carry it for their entire lives, and it's asymptomatic. You do know that you can get the Lyme disease bacteria and it not do anything. It can lay dormant. Guess where it lays dormant? Is it in the brain or not? You're going to have to look this up. You have to look up actual medical history for this. It makes microcysts in your blood cells. Blood cells cannot have cysts. A cystic mass is caused by the human body responding by forming a mass around it, or by a bacteria or virus forming a cystic mass around it that's less than the size, or it is the same size as it. Bacteria are normally smaller, and viruses are much smaller. They don't form cysts within cells because the cells die. Viruses reproduce in a cell. They're only quasi-parasitic. This causes cancer to form. No, it does not. Lyme disease is not associated with any form of cancer production, period, full stop, except the ones that are listed. The only parasitic, I used your words directly, there are only 3 actual parasites that cause cancer. There are lots of viruses that were assumed to cause cancer, and there are virtually none, 0, full stop, bacteria that cause cancer. Because bacteria eats the cell. It doesn't modify the DNA, so it can't do that. It can produce toxins that can cause cancers, but it is not inducing cancer as its end result. Any more than your arm getting bit causes cancer because the scar decides to form a cancerous mass instead of forming scar tissue. Another smoking gun. No, it's not, because that information is not correct. It is literally not true. Stop looking up McDonald. The Dr. McDonald is... Look up any biases or overwhelming... Look for him having money in this... or not. Just the brain tissue sample. Rest is from other research and other lecturers on Lyme. Lyme disease is a chronically misdiagnosed problem that people go to alternative medicine for because of the long-term chronic problems you have if you have it and it won't leave your body. But Lyme disease is bacterial. It can be cured. The effects, biological damage, and effects on other organs and other systems are chronic, but you still don't have Lyme disease after you're treated. They're going for more cures when it won't do anything, instead of just treating the symptoms because they no longer have Lyme disease. I'm not kidding. Lyme disease is actually curable. Look up medical documentation, real cure for Lyme disease. What you find are people telling you, yeah, you have chronic Lyme disease. And then when you look it up, it's like, no, they have chronic damage from it. The treatment for it is managing it. You aren't being attacked by parasites. This is also called delusional parasitosis. Just saying Lyme disease will trigger a bunch of websites that sell you things, and every one of them will say, if you look hard enough, we do not state that this is a medical treatment, because they aren't allowed to, because they can't provide any truth. Not because, and I said truth, not proof. They don't provide any proof of anything. They don't do any real studies. They don't let you critique them. Babies are born with it on a regular. Yeah, they are. That's not caused by heavy metal toxicity, though. It's either the parasite make it home. Heavy metal toxicity doesn't cause this. That was thrown out. There was a research study done on that, and then someone went through and said, with a nice little marker pen, and check-marked all the mistakes. Other tests have shown that this isn't really true. And here comes the shouter for the night. Next one. Someone says, schistosoma hematobohumum. What the fuck? Or WTF. So if nothing works for parasites, are we all doomed? No, there's only 3 parasites that cause the cancer, and the other parasites can be treated by various methods. Some parasites are treated by what I call the Russian method, called bacteriophages, or other phages. You can get something that's a parasite to the parasite and kill it. But don't do anything that's from some homeopath or somebody selling you stuff for 2 cents a bottle without a prescription. If it doesn't require a prescription, it's probably because it doesn't do anything. That's all there is to it. That really is a basic rule. The FDA is not your enemy. Their rule is it has to be safe first. Most of these poultices don't do anything to you, you hope, and effective. That last part is important. It has to show some form of treatment. If you really believe that treatment never has a positive outcome or can't be tested, then you're just blowing smoke up your own butt. That really is a terrifying image. Anyway, let's get on with it. What do you use? I think iodine is a possible solution. Iodine has an interesting effect on the human body depending on what variety you use. What do you think about black cumin seed? I think every single disease needs to be treated with what will fix it. You know that expression, like cures like. Even homeopaths say that there is no universal cure for something. They say that you have to have a specific cure for every particular ailment. They just say that you have to do a little bit of the ailment back to trigger a response in the body to get it to fight. We call that an immune system response, otherwise known as immunization and inoculation. You're going to have to look up what the origin stories for these things are, and you have to look up the real work on it. That means you have to put some more effort into it. And no, don't go to a website that says you have to pay for some medical study that was published. Never do that. I won't accept that. That should be, I think every website that does that should have any references removed from them. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. You shouldn't have to pay to find out whether or not you're going to be able to cure yourself or something. Okay, getting rid of the extra question marks. This thing keeps inserting. Save. Okay, next step. If we can get this done. Nope, this one's too long, so this will be a 2-parter. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And if anybody's curious, it's 12:26 a.m. and I'm going to do this in spite of people screaming at the top of their lungs, needing to be the most important thing in the universe. Flat Earth joke.